worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, smoke is still an issue following that perk plant fire, as outdoor activities in the area are being canceled over health concerns. Plus, 2/3 of the states have a sexual assault tracking system in place, and some believe that it's time for Maine to join them. And the Juniper Ridge landfill is one step closer to expanding after the Maine DEP determined that there would be substantial public benefit in doing so. Good morning, everyone. I'm Craig Colson. Emma Smith has the day off. Those are just a few of the stories we'll bring to you over the next hour. But first, to check with that forecast, and if you're heading out for the day, you might notice areas that have some pretty dense fog out there today. You may want to take it easy out there. The fog also making it a little easier to smell some of that smoke from the fire. If you're here in the Bangor area, that fire at the perk plant. We'll have more on the fire coming up in just a few moments. But first, a check of our forecast, and it looks like some rain will be moving in overnight. Here's Conrad Sapinski with the details.
Our first weather this morning is brought to you by Irish Collision Center. Irish Collision Center offers expert repairs with a 3D frame measuring system, aluminum repair equipment. Our recent expansion boosts capacity, faster service. We are dedicated to quality every time. Visit us today. All right, folks, air quality alerts have been posted till around midnight on Saturday here in town and then just east as well. So if you are out and about and you're going to be outside for a long period of time, be careful, maybe put on a mask. Now, this is where these alerts are. You can see the yellow, which means a little bit more of a moderate air quality, not the best everywhere else. New Hampshire, Vermont, we are good to go. Same story closer to Portland, green down the board, besides here in town and then just east. Now, temperature-wise, though, we're right at 47 degrees. Greenville's right at 48, a little bit warmer in Machias, Bar Harbor. Remember those 30s just 24 hours ago? Long gone. We're back in those lower 50s to start out our Friday. A great and warmer start to our weekend, which is coming up. It's knocking on our door. Now, yes, we are seeing some clouds outside, but not much at all. We will actually see some increasing clouds later on this afternoon. Temperature-wise, though, well above average. Once again, we're going to be hovering around 70 degrees, just a south wind around 5 to 15 miles per hour. For tonight, though, another very mild night. We're looking at mid-50s, but rain showers will be moving in late. That cloud cover is going to be like a pillow in the atmosphere, keeping things a bit mild. For tomorrow, though, closer to average temperatures, right around 63 degrees. Showers will be in the area as well. Our hour-by-hour forecast does show a little bit of mixture of that clouds and sun. Temperatures back in those 60s and lower 70s.
All right, thank you, Conrad. We'll see you later on with your full forecast. The Maine Department of Environmental Protection has issued an air quality alert in response to the fire at the Eagle Point Energy Center in Orrington. Authorities say nothing hazardous has been found at the site following this week's fire, but many people are complaining about breathing problems and other issues because of the smoke still coming from the plant. That fire still burning this morning. Doug Banks has more.
On Thursday, the Maine Department of Environmental Protection released an air quality alert in response to the fire at Eagle Point Energy Center in Orrington that began Tuesday night. Specifically in the eastern interior and mid-coast regions of Maine, the DEP says they found ground-level particle pollution concentrations from the smoke that billowed from the waste energy facility, reaching their unhealthy for sensitive groups level. Officials are asking people to continue precautionary efforts.
Maine DEP put out their recommendations. We made sure our folks were aware of that. All we're doing at this point is hoping for accurate information we can push out to the public so they can make an informed decision.
Outside Orrington's fire department, Fire Chief Scott Stewart says through limited staffing, the fire is contained to the area of origin, but expects it to be several days before it's fully extinguished.
We have several more days before we are going to even be able to think about calling this extinguished. We continue to work with the company, the DEP, and all those folks to make the plan moving forward to finalize this event.
According to one spokesperson, the Bangor School Department has canceled outdoor recess and sporting events. Other schools are following suit.
Surrounding towns have canceled outdoor activities. I certainly support that decision.
For health and safety advice and to stay up to date on Maine DEP's air quality forecast, visit foxbangor.com. In Orrington, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And according to the latest statement from authorities, they're asking people here in the Bangor area and as far away as Bucksport to keep their windows and doors closed until that smoke clears out. In other news this morning, a months-long drug investigation in Bangor has landed 3 people in jail. Maine Drug Enforcement Commander Brandon Vafiata says back on October 2nd, agents executed a search warrant at a home on Ohio Street after making controlled purchases of fentanyl from 25-year-old Brandon Batista. He says during the search, agents found over 10 pounds of methamphetamine, more than 3.5 pounds of fentanyl, over 2 pounds of cocaine. They also found 3 guns and over $120,000 in suspected drug proceeds. Vafiata says the estimated street value of the drugs is more than $750,000. Batista, 28-year-old Lacey Sockabason, and 31-year-old William Wright, all of Bangor, were arrested for aggravated drug trafficking charges. Vafiata says the residence where the drugs were found also sits directly across the street from the Hilltop Preschool. 2 people are facing felony drug trafficking charges after a traffic stop here in Bangor. 31-year-old Jasmine Donovan of Monticello and 29-year-old Sandy Mateo Ruiz of the Dominican Republic were arrested after police stopped their vehicle on Union Street on Tuesday. A statement from the Maine DEA says they received information about the 2 people traveling to Maine from Massachusetts to distribute drugs in northern Penobscot County. A search of their vehicle turned up 290 grams of fentanyl and $560 in suspected drug proceeds. Both Donovan and Mateo Ruiz are charged with aggravated trafficking in scheduled drugs. A Cornville man has pleaded guilty to assessing child sexual abuse material. FBI agents searched 46-year-old Wade Willette's residence after the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children received a tip about someone uploading videos containing child sexual abuse. The username and the email were traced to Willette. In an interview with investigators, Willette allegedly confirmed that the account was his and he had searched for and viewed child sexual abuse material on his phone. He also allegedly confirmed he had engaged in online conversations about child pornography in the past. According to court records, 2 images of children being sexually abused were found on his telephone. Willette now faces up to 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. A Lewiston man has been arrested for assaulting law enforcement during the January 6th Capitol breach. According to court documents, 64-year-old Andre Bono was seen in an open source and police body camera footage approaching a bike rack barricade separating officers from rioters on the Capitol grounds. Video footage showed Bono allegedly disregarding police orders to get back. Instead, he allegedly grabbed the bike rack and used his body weight to push it into the officers in an apparent attempt to breach the police line. The footage shows Bono allegedly struggling with officers before a chemical irritant was deployed in his direction. Bono now faces a number of charges, including assault and resisting or impeding officers. A 3-vehicle crash at McDonald's in Dover Foxcroft caused extensive damage to that building. Dover Foxcroft Fire Department training officer John Buckingham says they were called to the scene around 2:45 yesterday afternoon for a chain reaction crash.
What appears to happen was the vehicle was backing out of the parking spot and was hit by another vehicle. And when the driver tried to swerve, he hit the brake and the gas at the same time, and the pickup truck hit the red van behind me and drove into the wall of McDonald's.
Well, the crash pushed the wall into the dining area. Luckily, no one was sitting in that area at the time, or Buckingham says things would have been much worse. One person was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Buckingham says firefighters spent a couple of hours putting up bracing to make sure more of that building doesn't collapse. He says engineers will come in to assess the building's structural integrity before it can reopen. Crews quickly responded to a vehicle crash along Interstate 95 in Old Town on Thursday morning. According to the Orono Fire Department, they were called to a single vehicle crash just past exit 193 around 9 a.m. The driver was the only occupant at the time. Officials say he sustained only minor injuries and was not transported to the hospital. The driver was traveling southbound before crashing into the cable barriers. According to state police, the driver said that he had done some work on the front end suspension himself, which ended up failing. Though he was unharmed, the vehicle did sustain significant front end damage. According to the Maine Coalition Against Sexual Assault, around 2/3 of all states have a tracking system for sexual assault forensic evidence kits. Maine is not one of them. Yet the coalition is getting ready to launch a pilot program in 2 Maine counties to test kit tracking here in the state of Maine. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard has more.
That's really, really helpful for survivors because right now the only way for them to get that information is for them to either call the investigating officer or sit around and wait for a phone call.
Currently, if someone experiences sexual assault in Maine, there's an option of going to a hospital and getting forensic evidence collected. They can decide to share that information with the police and have them keep the evidence for up to 20 years. A new program could make it easier to find those files.
Right now, as it stands, patients will go home and they'll have a number for their kit. So for example, if my kit is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right, I would have that number and I can go home as a patient survivor and I can just type that into the website and it will pop up and it will tell me your kit is at Bangor Police Department, or your kit is still at St. Joseph's Hospital, or it's at the crime lab being tested.
Fisher says the reason they selected Kennebec and Penobscot counties to test out the program is because stakeholders in those communities already work well together.
So what we really wanted to do was pick a couple of counties where we knew that there was some good teams in place already that already communicated really well, and we've seen that from Penobscot and Kennebec counties.
The current funding, around $90,000, is coming from a grant to help launch the program. In the 131st legislature, a bill received bipartisan support to fund the kit tracking program, but was vetoed by Governor Mills, along with dozens of other bills the legislature passed in the final hours of the session. Fisher is hoping for that same support in the 132nd.
Senator Rick Bennett has already refiled that language for this upcoming session, so that bill will have a different LD number, but our hope is that we can get that passed because we had so much support, bipartisan support last time.
The tracking system is scheduled to go live for the pilot program beginning on November 4th. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, before we take the break, we want to tell you a little bit about some breaking news we just heard about. A viewer reached out to us and let us know that there's been a rollover crash on Broadway in Bangor, right in front of John Baptist High School. Apparently has blocked the lane of traffic there, and at last report, rescuers were on the scene trying to help the people involved in that crash. If you're heading out for the day, you may want to avoid that section of Broadway here in Bangor until that crash scene is cleared up. All right, the time now is 8:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the Maine Department of Environmental Protection has said that there would be a substantial public benefit from expanding the Juniper Ridge landfill, though not everyone sees it that way. We'll hear from both sides coming up. But first, another check of that weather forecast. A cloudy day ahead today with highs near 69 degrees. We can expect some rain showers overnight with lows dropping down to the mid-50s. Tomorrow, more rain showers are likely for your Saturday with highs near 63. We'll be right back.
Washington politicians allowing lobstermen to struggle, not just with higher inflation or with more regulations. They're allowing Canada to lobster in our waters, decimating our lobster population, stealing natural resources from our next generation.
Washington lets Canada steal from our lobstermen. They played politics while Mainers paid the price. It's time we put people over politics. I'll hold Canada accountable and fight to protect our way of life. I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
Come see us at R&K Variety in Hamden. R&K Variety is more than just a convenience store. With delicious homemade food made fresh daily, we offer hearty meals that don't break the bank. Whether it be our delicious chicken pot pie, our famous lasagna, or one of our savory soups, you can't go wrong at R&K Variety. Looking for a drink after work? R&K Variety is an agency liquor store with an impressive selection. R&K Variety, more than just a convenience store. We're your neighbor, chef, barista, and friend. Stop by today.
Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live Glow Party. Don't miss the world premiere of Stegosaurus and your favorites, Bigfoot, Megarex, Tiger Shark, and more. Be amazed by the high flyers of freestyle motocross and the all-new fire and frost-breathing robot, Arctic Gone. Plus the pre-show VIP and Power Smashers pre-show before each performance. Kids tickets start at just $12.50. Come watch your favorite Hot Wheels Monster Truck toys come to life at Cross Insurance Center, October 18th through the 20th. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com.
It's Fox College Football Friday, and it's a primetime Big Ten clash. In his chase for a Heisman, Dylan Gabriel leads Oregon as they continue their fight towards the top spot in the nation. Touchdown! But Michigan State has their sights set on a huge upset. Fox College Football Friday kicks off at 9 Eastern.
This is a job you have to put your heart into.
Getting dangerous.
Welcome to the North Shore.
Rescue High Surf, all new Mondays on Fox.
Welcome back, everyone. The Juniper Ridge landfill in Old Town is moving closer towards a possible expansion. This comes after the Maine Department of Environmental Protection recently determined a proposal to increase the capacity of that facility would be a benefit to the public, though environmental advocates say this is a step in the wrong direction. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
Casella Waste Management is one step closer to expanding the Juniper Ridge landfill they operate in Old Town. Maine DEP determined Wednesday there is a substantial public benefit from a proposal to increase the capacity of the state-owned facility.
From a public benefit standpoint, it's clear that this facility serves a wide portion of people and provides the necessary disposal capacity for Maine, not only for Maine residents, but for wastewater treatment facilities.
According to Casella officials, the landfill currently disposes of just over half of Maine's landfill waste and is expected to exhaust that capacity by 2028.
Economically and environmentally, makes a whole lot of sense to expand at a facility that has the infrastructure already established, has space to expand, and has operated at a very high level for the past 20 years since we've been operating it for the state of Maine.
Though environmental advocates say this is a reckless decision and fear an expansion could potentially impact air and water quality in the region.
The Penobscot Nation is impacted by it, like all the local residents, and everyone they've written comments, they've testified at public meetings, and we really feel that Maine DEP and Casella need to take into account people's concerns.
The company must now submit an application for a license to expand before they can move forward. In Old Town, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, meanwhile, a high crash intersection in Orland could be getting a new traffic light. The Maine Department of Transportation is proposing that light at the four-way intersection of Acadia Highway, Upper Falls Road, and the Schoolhouse Road. According to DOT figures, there have been 25 crashes there since 2020. DOT Director of Communications Paul Merrill says the intersection came up on the department's statewide safety network screening process.
Folks who drive through there know the intersection well. Our numbers show that it deserves some attention, and that's what we're doing, proposing a new signal to make sure that it's safer without unnecessarily gumming things up traffic-wise.
There have been a number of bad accidents at that intersection over the years. Merrill says the proposed light would stay green unless a vehicle on the side roads triggers it to turn red. He says they also considered a roundabout at the top of that hill, but the light was the most cost-effective way to do it. Maine travelers now have another option when booking direct flights to Florida. Breeze Airways debuted at Bangor International Airport on Thursday with service to Orlando. And the airport welcomed them in with a water salute spraying down that airplane shortly after it touched down. Airport officials say this is the 5th airline to be offered at BIA.
It is important for us to continue to diversify the services that we offer, and so a new airline offers that capability. And obviously, if we continue to grow, to expand not just the connectivity to Florida, but it allows the opportunity for us to explore other options outside Florida and into the western side.
That low-cost airline offers one-way fares starting at just $65. Flights to Tampa through Breeze Airways will begin today, and flights to Fort Myers, Florida will begin tomorrow. To schedule a flight and learn more, you can visit flybreeze.com. Might be a nice, inexpensive way to escape from the cold weather this winter at some point. All right, the time now is 8:19. Coming up after the break, the death toll from Hurricane Helene crosses 200, and workers who are risking their lives to help others say they're going to be there as long as they're needed. We'll have that story and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
I've been on the water since I was 2 days old. Fished up and down the coast from Nantucket to Eastport. I've been paying into Medicare, Social Security my whole life, every paycheck. Those benefits should be there when we retire. But Austin, Ontario wants to join extremists in Congress, trying to cut Social Security and Medicare. I earned those benefits. Austin, Ontario should not be able to take those away.
DCCC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Ready to refresh your home? Fall into savings with incredible deals at the Furniture Gallery. Shop new arrivals from top brands like Ashley, Serta, Restonic, Nectar, and Franklin. Fall in love with unbeatable deals like our sofa and love seat sets for only $9.99 or sofas starting at $3.99. Indulge in ultimate comfort with over 150 recliner styles starting at just $2.99. My family and I are committed to giving you the best value for your money at the Furniture Gallery. Support our main family-owned business and save money. The Furniture Gallery.
Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Line Glow Party. Don't miss the world premiere of Stegosaurus and your favorites, Bigfoot, Megarex, Tiger Shark, and more. Be amazed by the high flyers of freestyle motocross and the all-new fire and frost-breathing robot, Arctic Gone. Plus the pre-show VIP and Power Smashers pre-show before each performance. Kids tickets start at just $12.50. Come watch your favorite Hot Wheels Monster Truck toys come to life at Cross Insurance Center, October 18th through the 20th. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com.
RSV can be dangerous for infants and some young children and is the leading cause of infant hospitalization in the U.S. So what can you do? The Centers for Disease Control recommends protecting your baby from getting very sick by getting an RSV immunization for infants and some older babies, or even an RSV vaccine given to the mother during pregnancy, which could make a shot for an infant unnecessary. Protect your baby today. This message brought to you by the Maine CDC, this station, and the Maine Association of Broadcasters.
More aid is starting to trickle into the hardest hit areas of the Southeast as the death toll from Hurricane Helene passes 200. Fox News correspondent Caroline Elliott has more from North Carolina.
Plan to be here as long as the community needs us.
Plenty of help starting to get to hard-hit areas of the Southeast after a direct hit from Hurricane Helene 1 week ago. There are hundreds dead and missing, hundreds of thousands without power, but we're also seeing plenty of hope and resilience here, with neighbors helping neighbors as the damage assessment continues.
It was amazing to see that community come together. Seeing those people risking their lives for others is very, very important.
There's no telling how many homes and businesses were damaged or destroyed. Some hard-hit communities were essentially wiped off the map, but despite the widespread devastation, most folks in the region say they want to stay and rebuild.
I feel so bad for everybody, and everybody says, I'm sorry, and everybody's sorry, and now it's time to go back to work, and let's get it done.
FEMA and other government agencies are now deploying in big numbers, but transportation remains a major issue. Hundreds of roads are still closed, meaning food and water are becoming scarce in some isolated communities. President Biden visited the region for a second straight day on Thursday, telling folks they won't be left behind. One small sign of hope is power outages are slowly getting better in this area. You can see crews behind us working now, which is one small sign of hope for the families that live here. In Swannanoa, North Carolina, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
And the time now is 8:23. Let's get a look at our full forecast with Conrad Sapinski.
And our Maine weather this morning is brought to you by Irish Collision Center. Irish Collision Center offers expert repairs with a 3D frame measuring system, aluminum repair equipment. Our recent expansion boosts capacity, faster service. We are dedicated to quality every time. Visit us today. And some dense fog out there this morning, folks. Please slow it down. We are seeing some very, very dense fog all over the state. We haven't seen this in several days, but this is widespread. Can't really get away from this, so slow down this morning. Now, we are going to see some more clouds rolling in. For now, upstate New York, PA, you're seeing those clouds, and then just west, that's where we're seeing this line of showers. That's actually going to be crossing Illinois, Chicago. It's knocking on your door, and then it's going to be moving into our area, mainly late tonight into the day tomorrow, as our futurecast does show that rain really moving in and developing late tonight and then into those morning hours tomorrow. By the afternoon, we're still going to see it, but then things will start to slowly calm down and slow down in the area as well. By Sunday, things will clear up, but then more rain will be back by Monday, as our future rainfall totals does show potentially over an inch of rain in some spots. I do think we're going to get over an inch of rain here in town, especially the more east you go. This is where some places might see even close to 2 inches of rainfall. This is within the next 5 to 6 days. Now, cold temperatures making their way all the way down south from Canada. Look at this, all of these blue colors showing up here. International Falls, which is still the United States, the most northern part of the United States, besides Alaska, of course, below freezing. We're talking upper 20s. So freeze warnings have been issued there. But most of the country, I mean, not too bad, right? Look at Atlanta, look at Florida, Raleigh, D.C., you're back in those mid-60s. New York City, 61 degrees. Playoff baseball is coming up for you starting Sunday. Get ready for that. Let's go Yankees. Oh, yeah. Temperatures, our average is right around 63. We're going to be above that for today, closer to average Saturday and Sunday, and then maybe even below average Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Look at Thursday, my friends. We're looking at mid-50s. These are high temperatures, so of course, those overnight lows will be a lot cooler than that. At least we're looking at some calm winds outside. Rockland, Machias around a 3-mile-per-hour breeze. Still staying on the lighter end with the winds today. Increasing clouds, temperatures right around 70 degrees. For tonight, though, we're looking at mid-50s. Showers moving in late. Light breeze once again. For tomorrow, though, showers will be in the area. Mainly the first half of the day. Temperatures closer to average around 63 degrees. Our extended forecast outlook does show mostly cloudy skies on Sunday. More chances of rain Monday into Tuesday.
My husband was in a very serious accident and needed back surgery. We called the twos, and Lowry & Associates got him $450,000.
Call us. We win for you.
Joshua Chamberlain is the greatest citizen Maine has ever produced. He saved democracy at Gettysburg, but he knew that we, the people, isn't a given.
I have a dream.
It takes work from generation to generation. Voting rights, personal freedom, the rule of law, all part of that wild and crazy idea that the people are in charge. I'm Angus King, and I approve this message because now it's our turn to defend democracy. And the old general had a pretty good mustache, too.
When you're ready to tackle your next building project, depend on the knowledge and experience of Hammond Lumber Company. Hammond's Home Planning Center will turn your ideas into accurate conceptual drawings, and 3D visualization is available. Your Hammond sales rep will prepare a materials list and cost estimate. And when you buy all of your materials from them, Hammond will refund all of your design fees. Hammond can deliver your order from any of their 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner since 1953.
Future-proof your home and garden with AARP today. Harvest the rewards for years to come. That's why the younger you are, the more you need AARP.
What customers want from a garage door opener, a LiftMaster from PDQ Door delivers. Security. LiftMaster offers lighting, camera, audio, rolling code technology, and automatic locking. Connectivity. LiftMaster offers MyQ technology for remote operation and monitoring. And quiet. LiftMaster offers near silent belt drive and DC motor openers. Plus reliability, durability, battery backup. A LiftMaster is what you want from PDQ Door. Hamden, Rockport, Bath, Waterville, Holton, Presque Isle, and statewide at pdqdoor.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Big news this morning. Thousands of dock workers are back on the job after striking union members reached a tentative deal. The strike threatened to cost the U.S. economy $4 billion a day and caused major supply chain issues. Both sides have agreed to suspend the strike, meaning the fight isn't quite over yet. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimbert, who has more.
This morning, the dock workers' strike suspended. Work resuming immediately after an uncertain 3 days that saw ports from Maine to Texas shut down. The disruption could have potentially crippled the U.S. economy, leading to supply shortages and higher retail prices ahead of the holiday shopping season.
Dock workers are going back to work, and the next 90 days we're going to settle everything.
The International Longshoremen's Association, representing 45,000 workers at East and Gulf Coast ports, reaching a deal Thursday to suspend the work stoppage. The tentative agreement with the U.S. Maritime Alliance, which represents the ports and shipping companies, will pause the strike until January 15th. Dock workers are demanding a 77% pay raise over the next 6 years and a total ban on certain forms of automation. The Maritime Alliance has offered a 62% raise, tripled contributions to benefits, and pledged to limit automation. ILA members' current base salary is $81,000 annually, but some can earn $200,000 with overtime. This raise will increase top dock workers' hourly pay from $39 to $63. The CEO of the National Retail Federation celebrating the suspension, writing, "The sooner they reach a deal, the better for all American families." Consumers were already on edge after the strike was announced.
I came in at 9:30. I was waiting online because I know people panic every time they hear something.
Panic buying, clearing toilet paper from shelves at big box stores, despite the fact that the disruption would not have affected domestically produced tissue paper. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
In other news, a series of massive blasts rocked Beirut's southern suburbs late Thursday night into Friday morning, shaking buildings miles away from the capital. Lebanon's state-run national news agency reported more than 10 consecutive airstrikes in the area, and it was not immediately clear what was targeted or if there were any casualties. The strikes came amid an ongoing escalation in the year-long conflict between Israel and the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. Israel sent troops into southern Lebanon on Tuesday. More than 1.2 million Lebanese have been displaced by the Israeli attacks, and nearly 2,000 people have been killed since the start of the Israeli attacks on Lebanon over the last year, most of those deaths occurring in just the past 2 weeks. Well, nearly 1 month to go until Election Day, and Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Trump are heading to the battleground states today. Trump in North Carolina and Georgia. Harris is heading to Michigan. And ABC's Perry Russum has more from Washington.
Vice President Kamala Harris in Wisconsin standing side by side with former Wyoming Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney.
I tell you, I have never voted for a Democrat, but this year I am proudly casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Cheney was a member of the January 6th committee and is the daughter of former conservative Vice President Dick Cheney, who also endorsed Harris.
As you said, we may not see eye to eye on every issue, and we are going to get back to a healthy two-party system. I am sure of that, where we will have vigorous debates.
Trump responding to the Liz Cheney endorsement on Fox News.
Well, Liz Cheney lost for Congress. She was terrible. Liz Cheney is a stupid war hawk.
Trump at a rally in Michigan promising to add manufacturing jobs by increasing U.S. production. Trump speaking a day after federal prosecutors unveiled new evidence against him in the case where he's accused of plotting to overturn the 2020 election. Trump denies all wrongdoing. Trump once again yesterday repeating the false claim that he won in 2020.
We did great in 2016. A lot of people don't know we did much better in 2020. We won. We did win. It was a rigged election. It was a rigged election.
Trump heads back to Butler, Pennsylvania tomorrow, the site of the first assassination attempt. The Secret Service is making changes to his protection. It includes large white tents where Trump is set to speak. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
And coming up on the second half of the newscast, new benches that were built and donated to the city of South Portland must now be removed, no matter how much everyone wants them to stay. We'll explain why as Good Morning Maine continues.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
We are explorers, hard workers, the jack of all trades. We are Mainers. Maine Quit Link provides free nicotine quit medication, including gum, patches, and lozenges. No insurance needed, no copay, and no cost to Mainers. Because quitting tobacco with a little extra help is more successful than quitting on your own. Quit like a Mainer. Enroll online at MaineQuitLink.com or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Friday, thank goodness, October 4th, 2024. It is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This month is part of an international campaign to promote screening and prevention of a disease that impacts more than 2 million people worldwide. As part of that effort, our employees here at the TV station, along with those at Northern Light Hospitals, will be wearing pink today to help raise awareness and to show support for the many Maine women who have been touched by that disease. According to the National Breast Cancer Foundation, 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer sometime in their lifetime. That's one reason mammograms are so very important. All right, on this day in history, back in 1895, the very first U.S. Open golf tournament took place. It was held in Newport, Rhode Island. In 1927, the sculptors began carving the faces of the U.S. presidents on Mount Rushmore in South Dakota's Black Hills National Forest. In 1957, the space age got underway after the Soviet Union launched the world's first artificial satellite into orbit. The U.S. was caught off guard by the launching of Sputnik, and the effort to catch up marked the beginning of the space race. In 1970, singer Janis Joplin died from an accidental overdose in Los Angeles. She was only 27. In 1976, Barbara Walters joined Harry Reasoner at the anchor desk for the ABC Evening News, becoming the first woman to co-host a network evening news program. She was a real pioneer. In 1990, Beverly Hills 90210 appeared on television and became a big hit. And in 1997, the second largest cash robbery in U.S. history was committed. 24 people were convicted of stealing $17.3 million from the Loomis Fargo vaults in Charlotte, North Carolina. Much of that money, about 88% of it, was recovered. And finally, in 2002, American John Walker Lind, he received a 20-year sentence after he was caught fighting alongside the Taliban in Afghanistan, and he was released in 2019. Today's birthdays include actress Dakota Johnson, who is 35 years old. Actor Christopher Waltz is 68, and country singer Heidi Newfield is 54 years old. We'd like to wish them a very happy birthday, and if you have a birthday today too, we'd like to wish you a very happy birthday as well. All right, I'm told we could take a real quick look outside. If you're heading out for the day today, you might notice that there is certainly some fog in the area. It certainly was the case when I was heading into work this morning. There's a picture outside of our studio. You can see it's not a very thick fog, but it is a bit hazy out there. And you may also notice here in the Bangor area that you can certainly smell the smoke, especially the smell of burning plastic, apparently coming from that fire still burning over there in Orrington. So you may want to take it easy with that too. If you have some breathing conditions, you may want to stay inside today. All right, for more on what we can expect over the weekend ahead, we're going to turn things over to Conrad, who says some rain is on the way.
Our first weather this morning is brought to you by Irish Collision Center. Irish Collision Center offers expert repairs with a 3D frame measuring system, aluminum repair equipment. Our recent expansion boosts capacity, faster service. We are dedicated to quality every time. Visit us today. All right, folks, air quality alerts have been posted till around midnight on Saturday here in town and then just east as well. So if you are out and about and you're going to be outside for a long period of time, be careful, maybe put on a mask. Now, this is where these alerts are. You can see the yellow, which means a little bit more of a moderate air quality, not the best everywhere else. New Hampshire, Vermont, we are good to go. Same story closer to Portland, green down the board, besides here in town and then just east. Now, temperature-wise, though, we're right at 47 degrees. Greenville's right at 48, a little bit warmer in Machias, Bar Harbor. Remember those 30s just 24 hours ago? Long gone. We're back in those lower 50s to start out our Friday. A great and warmer start to our weekend, which is coming up. It's knocking on our door. Now, yes, we are seeing some clouds outside, but not much at all. We will actually see some increase in clouds later on this afternoon. Temperature-wise, though, well above average. Once again, we're going to be hovering around 70 degrees, just a south wind around 5 to 15 miles per hour. For tonight, though, another very mild night. We're looking at mid-50s, but rain showers will be moving in late. That cloud cover is going to be like a pillow in the atmosphere, keeping things a bit mild. For tomorrow, though, closer to average temperatures, right around 63 degrees. Showers will be in the area as well. Our hour-by-hour forecast does show a little bit of mixture of that clouds and sun. Temperatures back in those 60s and lower 70s.
All right, thank you very much, Conrad. We'll see you later on. Well, there's no place to sit at most city bus stops down in South Portland. That was before someone built 8 new benches for the city. But as Brad Rogers shows us, the city now says those benches must go, no matter how bad the builder and some bus riders want them to stay.
This bus stop bench and 7 others like it were built for free by a young carpenter from South Portland. He says he got the idea when his car broke down and he started riding Metro buses.
I spent a lot of time standing at that exact bus stop and thinking, wow, it would be really great if there were a bench here to sit on.
Tris Howard also saw a lot of seniors standing at bus stops.
Yeah, I thought that was nice. That you don't meet people that do things like that anymore, so I thought that was thoughtful.
South Portland city leaders say as much as they appreciate this kind gesture, the benches must be removed because they're in direct violation of federal, state, and city transit guidelines. For one thing, all benches must have a 5x8 concrete pad to be ADA compliant. The city's communications director says benches in a right-of-way can be hazardous, impact accessibility, interfere with sidewalk and road maintenance, and allowing the benches could open the city up to lawsuits. Howard says the city council could ask Maine DOT for an exception. The city won't do that.
I think it's wrong because he's trying to help people. He's trying to give them a place to sit. I have to sit on the sidewalk when I'm waiting for a bus. It's not right. I'm 67 years old.
Howard says right now he has no choice but to remove the benches. He plans to do so tonight.
Public Works asked me to get them gone by the end of this week.
The city says parks would be a nice place for these benches, but Tris Howard still wants them at bus stops. He'll plead his case to the city council next week.
I'm holding off on my disappointment until I get official word back from the city council, which has not yet had a meeting, and the DOT, which hasn't replied to me at all.
Now, the city says they've secured grant funds to add bus shelters in high ridership areas. No decision yet, though, on where or when those shelters get built.
That was Brad Rogers reporting. And when we come back, Tyler Cruz will have all the day sports news. Don't go away.
AMHG Works LLC, American-made home goods, located at the Rennie's Plaza in Bangor. Come check us out. We're open 7 days a week, featuring artisans, crafters, and manufacturers from across the United States, where everything is meticulously designed with care and pride. We also have a wide selection of pet accessories and treats. Let us be your new favorite store. We look forward to seeing you.
What's the score of the game?
The new Hyundai Elantra with America's best warranty. There's joy in every journey. Lease a Hyundai Elantra for only $159 a month, or get 1.99% APR or up to $1,500 bonus cash. Hurry in.
When Northern Power Wash Company, located in Bangor, wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Northern Power Wash provides outstanding pressure washing, window and gutter cleaning services to Eastern and Central Maine. Call Todd at 881-3680 today for a free estimate.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered, and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
The KG in Medway and Millinocket, your place for pizza, where our dough is hand-stretched. Did you say meats? All cut, fresh in Medway. Famous KG subs, to-go meals, homemade desserts, and we serve Carabasset coffee. The KG, much more than just a store.
Light it up! TV's biggest game show is back, and it's even bigger. Let's go! The Floor, all new, Wednesdays on Fox.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. It's a busy weekend for Maine hockey, and that doesn't just include this year's squad. On Friday night, the 1999 National Championship team will be inducted into the UMaine Hall of Fame with the class of 2024. Friday, the team will be honored at the induction ceremony, and on Saturday, before the Black Bears open the season, members of the team will mingle with fans for a special meet and greet opportunity at the new Wells Central Pub on campus. That all starts at 4 p.m. This year is also the 25th anniversary of the National Championship. Current assistant coach Alfie Michaud was the Black Bears goalie that year, earning Most Outstanding Player of the Frozen Four. We caught up with Michaud this week, and he says they just had a special group that season.
Everybody played for each other. You know, we're a lunch pail team, so to speak. Nobody really expected a lot from us, but we knew what we had in the locker room. And then obviously, you know, we rallied around the tragic death of Richie Britt, and we came together at the right time. We just had a really cohesive group. Now, there's not anything one of those guys wouldn't do for me, and vice versa.
Michaud spent 16 years in the pros after the 1999 season, and then he returned to Maine as an assistant in 2016, and he has been in Orono since. He says he's most excited to see some of his old teammates this weekend, and when asked what brought him back to Orono after his career, he says Maine is just a special place.
This is probably the best 3-4 years of your life. History, you make friendships forever, and I'm no different. This is everything to me. I met my wife. My wife's from Maine. All three of my girls were born in Maine. I know it's a real honor, and you take it to heart, and you try to do your best to get it back to what it once was.
Staying at the University of Maine now to Mahaney Diamond, where Maine women's soccer is back home hosting UMass Lowell in America East action. This one had a real playoff feel to it. Only in October, though. We pick it up in the first half. Abby Kramer with a beautiful touch pass here to set up Jordan Panette. She can't get the shot off, but what a touch by Kramer. Good chance for the Black Bears. Later in the first, Kayla Kramer sends a cross into the box. It gets loose and almost goes into the net, but look at the save from the UMass Lowell defense right there. Swats it out just in time, and then it's Panette again with a chance in the box, this time hitting the crossbar. So close for Maine, but finally in the second half, who else but Abby Kramer would break through for the Black Bears. Here she is, burying the only goal to give Maine the 1-0 win in a massive conference matchup. To Ellsworth now, where the Eagles boys soccer coach just reached a major milestone. Mark Ensworth secured his 100th win on Tuesday night as the Eagles took down the Herman Hawks. He earned those wins during his time at George Stevens Academy and the past 3 years at Ellsworth. Ensworth gives credit to his players and his assistant coaches throughout his career, while admitting he wasn't even planning on telling the group.
I actually wasn't even going to tell my players, but my wife told my kids, and they let the cat out of the bag, I guess. But I mean, the players make the program. You know, the people that you bring into the program make the program. So I've just been lucky to have a lot of great people around me.
It means a lot to me. Like, getting to be a part of a big milestone really means a lot.
Enworth is a physical education teacher at Ellsworth High, and he says developing those relationships and being a mentor to his players throughout the years means much more than the 100 wins.
Honestly, it feels amazing. You know, he's just like one step away. You know, personally for me, he's always making sure I keep my grades above an 80, you know, just so I can pass and, you know, get into a good college.
You kind of see something developing, you can pull him aside, you know, hey, come down to my office real quick, let's talk this out. And it creates a nice open door policy. I mean, I get kids, they just shoot me a message, hey, coach, can I come talk to you real quick? You know, they pop in my office, you know, we sit down, we have a conversation. So we were able to kind of smooth things out on any issues that might come up before they really become problems.
Big congratulations to him. Some other scores from around the high school sports scene today. Skowhegan with a field hockey victory, 1-0 over Lawrence. Mount View beats George Stevens in boys soccer, 3-1. In girls soccer, Brewer posts a shutout, a close game over Hamden Academy, 1-0. And then Bucksport beats MDI in girls soccer, 3-2. Moving on to some baseball now, and when the Portland Sea Dogs hit the field next spring, there will be a brand new clubhouse for the home team and a brand new name for the field they play on. Hadlock Field will have a new look and a new name next season. It will be Delta Dental Park at Hadlock Field. The Sea Dogs and Delta Dental agreeing on a 10-year partnership on Thursday. Longtime Sea Dogs president Jeff Iaquesa says it is a perfect match for the team and the Maine baseball community.
We have entered into a naming rights agreement for the ballpark with our great friends and community partners at Delta Dental to formally rename the ballpark Delta Dental Park at Hadlock Field.
All right, sounds like should be a blast next season. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Look, here's a phone company who wants us to use our phones less.
That's ironic.
Yeah, but in a good way. Let's find us again with Us Mode. U.S. Cellular, built for us.
It's a free ride. But I already paid.
When it comes to automotive and heavy equipment repair, trust the experts at CTI Service Center, located in Old Town and Milford. CTI offers heavy-duty part sales at our Old Town location, as well as on-the-road service with our heavy-duty mobile units. CTI also offers tire sales, including mount and spin balance, as well as Old Town's only heavy-duty alignment system. CTI Service Center diagnoses issues swiftly and accurately. For reliable service and peace of mind, give us a call or visit us online at ctiservicecenter.com. CTI Service Center, simply the best.
To prove that you can get just as strong at Planet Fitness, we're seeing if people can tell the difference between our 75-pound dumbbell and a 75-pound dumbbell from an overpriced competitor gym. Okay, the old flick test, that never fails.
There's literally no difference.
Plus, you can save $28 or more when you join today. Wow.
Why would I pay more to lift the same weights?
It's the Planet Fitness Strong Choice Sale. Save $28 or more. Join for $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th. Planet Fitness. Light price, strong choice.
Back by popular demand, the Lucerne Inn in Dedham presents its amazing Sunday brunch. Join us every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for a culinary experience like no other. Indulge in an exquisite selection of dishes, all while enjoying breathtaking views. Seating is limited, so reservations are recommended, but walk-ins are always welcome. The Lucerne Inn Sunday Brunch, where great food meets a spectacular view. Call today to reserve your spot.
Our phones were made to help us connect, and somehow they've made us less connected. Which is ironic, don't you think? Ugh, I love this song so much. Let's find us again with Us Mode. U.S. Cellular, built for us.
An Arizona couple visited all national parks in the country. Fox's Dominique Newland takes us to meet that amazing pair of travelers.
Daryl and Kathleen Tupkin, longtime Arizona residents, have reached a major milestone, visiting all 431 national park units across the U.S., a journey that started back in the 80s.
We did a westward camping trip with our dogs, and we went out to Nevada and California for a 7-week trip, and we started hitting national parks. We went up to the Redwoods.
They began traveling with their puppies in a tent trailer in 2004, and that's when the ball got rolling. Journeys that have taken them all over the U.S., to Puerto Rico, even the Virgin Islands.
Once we had gone to a few and we started to go into a few more, we made the mistake of making a list. And I'll say never give my husband a list, because once you have a list, you have to get to everything on the list.
Taking the couple over 20 years to complete, you may think, why do they do this? They say it's a great way to explore the country and stumble upon places you may have never considered visiting.
I do have favorites, but honestly, it's really the next park that you come and visit. In my book, is my favorite, because you never know what you're going to come across.
Over 100,000 miles of driving, flying, even helicopter and tiny seaplanes later. The husband and wife say it's been an adventure of a lifetime, one that started almost 37 years ago.
People think of Yellowstone and Yosemite and forests and woods, Acadia. But really, if you look at all the national park units, there's like a bunch that are national battlefields. There's wild and scenic rivers. There's national seashores.
And one they can check off the bucket list once and for all.
Think of the memories that they have made. Just incredible. Good for them. All right, before we go, one last check of that forecast. Looks like some rain moving into the area tonight. Here's Conrad with the details.
And our main weather this morning is brought to you by Irish Collision Center. Irish Collision Center offers expert repairs with a 3D frame measuring system, aluminum repair equipment. Our recent expansion boosts capacity, faster service. We are dedicated to quality every time. Visit us today. And some dense fog out there this morning, folks. Please slow it down. We are seeing some very, very dense fog all over the state. We haven't seen this in several days, but this is widespread. Can't really get away from this, so slow down this morning. Now, we are going to see some more clouds rolling in. For now, upstate New York, PA, you're seeing those clouds, and then just west. That's where we're seeing this line of showers. That's actually going to be crossing Illinois, Chicago. It's knocking on your door, and then it's going to be moving into our area, mainly late tonight into the day tomorrow, as our futurecast does show that rain really moving in and developing late tonight and then into those morning hours tomorrow. By the afternoon, we're still going to see it, but then things will start to slowly calm down and slow down in the area as well. By Sunday, things will clear up, but then more rain will be back by Monday, as our future rainfall totals does show potentially over an inch of rain in some spots. I do think we're going to get over an inch of rain here in town, especially the more east you go. This is where some places might see even close to 2 inches of rainfall. This is within the next 5 to 6 days. Now, cold temperatures making their way all the way down south from Canada. Look at this, all of these blue colors showing up here. International Falls, which is still the United States, the most northern part of the United States, besides Alaska, of course, below freezing. We're talking upper 20s, so freeze warnings have been issued there. But most of the country, I mean, not too bad, right? Look at Atlanta, look at Florida, Raleigh, D.C., you're back in those mid-60s. New York City, 61 degrees. Playoff baseball is coming up for you starting Sunday. Get ready for that. Let's go Yankees. Oh, yeah. Temperatures, our average is right around 63. We're going to be above that for today, closer to average Saturday and Sunday, and then maybe even below average Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Look at Thursday, my friends. We're looking at mid-50s. These are high temperatures, so of course, those overnight lows will be a lot cooler than that. At least we're looking at some calm winds outside. Rockland, Machias around a 3-mile-per-hour breeze. Still staying on the lighter end with the winds today. Increasing clouds, temperatures right around 70 degrees. For tonight, though, we're looking at mid-50s. Showers moving in late. Light breeze once again. For tomorrow, though, showers will be in the area. Mainly the first half of the day. Temperatures closer to average around 63 degrees. Our extended forecast outlook does show mostly cloudy skies on Sunday. More chances of rain Monday into Tuesday.
Meet Stacy at Sheerhaven in Bangor. Whether you're looking for a total transformation, want to try the newest trend, or just need an expert opinion on hairstyle, Stacy is up for the task. For 15 years with a passion for custom cuts and colors, Stacy makes getting your hair done the perfect experience from start to finish.
Do you have a wet basement, nasty crawl space, settling foundation, sinking concrete, or clogged gutters? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basement-y. For over 30 years, thousands of homeowners throughout Maine and southeastern New Hampshire have trusted TC Hafford. Basement waterproofing, crawl space repair, stabilizing foundations, concrete leveling, and gutter installation. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems for all things basement-y.
After getting into a car accident, my husband and I were unsure of how to deal with the other insurance company.
We made the decision to reach out to the law offices of Joe Bornstein.
One phone call got the ball rolling.
It was a free evaluation, but it was a big relief.
They were easy to work with, and it was clear right away that they cared about our situation.
Knowing that we had Joe's team working for us
and fighting for us
meant that I could focus on healing.
Call Joe today for a free case evaluation. There's never a fee unless you win.
Future-proof your home and garden with AARP today. Harvest the rewards for years to come. That's why the younger you are, the more you need AARP.
We have 30,000 ways to thank our loyal fans.
Courtroom leader, the judge.
Win one of 3 $10,000 cash prizes.
You just won the game, guys!
It's the 30K Thanks Arama giveaway.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Meet Stacy at Sheerhaven in Bangor. Whether you're looking for a total transformation, want to try the newest trend, or just need an expert opinion on hairstyle, Stacy is up for the task. For 15 years with a passion for custom cuts and colors, Stacy makes getting your hair done the perfect experience from start to finish.
The Maine Forest and Logging Museum will host their annual Living History Days this weekend, the biggest event of the year for the museum in Bradley. Featuring colonial and Civil War reenactors, fresh pressed cider, the historically significant Lombards, which will also be up and running, and they'll also be having horse-drawn wagon rides and much more. Tickets can be purchased at the event itself, $15 for adults or just $5 for kids. To learn more, you can head to their website at maineforestandloggingmuseum.org. May also be a great place to check out the fall foliage. It's getting real pretty around there. Well, police and firefighters in New Hampshire have responded to an unusual call: a moose trapped in a backyard swimming pool. Video shot by police shows rescuers removing a pool covering after arriving at that home around 8:45 on Thursday morning to reveal the adult moose standing in the water. After the cover was removed, the moose strolled out of the shallow end of the pool and headed off to a wooded area next to the home. Bedford Police Chief Daniel Doody said in a statement that no people or animals were harmed during that rescue operation. The moose just taking a little dip, probably trying to cool off a little bit, got trapped by that covering. Glad he's doing okay. All right, that's it for now, folks. We thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back here on Monday morning with all the latest news. In the meantime, the afternoon team will have the latest news from tonight at 6 o'clock on ABC 7. We hope you'll tune in then. I'm Craig Colson, and for everyone here at the station, we hope you have a wonderful day.
Today on 25 Words or Less, he claims he won the Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Special Class Special.